If you're looking for an easy project to make a couple extra dollars on, then try your hand at this fold-up coat rack. The materials for this is very inexpensive, it's easy to build, and it's also very practical. The hooks fold down when they're in use, and magnets hold them nice and secure when they're not. Now these typically sell anywhere from $30 to $40 at a craft show, and once you get your tools set up, you can easily batch out 5 or 6 of these in a day, no problem. Now before we get started, please take a second and hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps out a small channel like mine. Now let's get to the build. To get started, I'm going to cut some sections of my 2x4. And I'm going to make my coat rack 9 inches tall, so I'll be making multiple cuts at 9 inches. This is just something I think looks good. You can make it whatever size you want. I'm going to cut 5 pieces at this length. Probably only need 4, but I'm going to make a couple extra just in case. And here I'm just using the first cutoff to mark for the next cutoffs. And I really wish I just used my stop block here. I don't know why I didn't, it's right there. Because this method really isn't as accurate, and you'll see later on how that affected the project. I'm going to take my cut pieces over to the table saw now and get ready to rip them down to 3/4 inch thick. But the very first thing I'm going to do is take off that rounded edge of this store-bought 2x4. See that catch? I'm like a puma. For the length of my coat rack, I'm going to need 11 of these 3/4 inch by 1.5 inch pieces. Again, this is all going to depend on how long you decide to make yours. So I was able to cut 12 of these pieces down. Like I said, I only need 11, but I've got 12 here. And I've convinced myself that I'm going to sort through these and pick the best looking pieces. And I'm going to pick the best sides of the best looking pieces. But this wasn't the case at all. I've moved this so many times and just get it all mixed up. So the final project looks nothing like this design here. But what I really wanted to accomplish here was getting the overall length for the back piece that I needed to make next. Mine was 16.5 inches. And you want to be a bit generous with the measurements. You don't want everything so tight that when you go to pull a hook down, it's a fight. You want it to move nice and freely. Back at the miter station, I ripped down one 16.5 inch piece that I'm going to use to make the back piece. You could use a piece of plywood or some other piece of wood that you might have, but you're going to have more than enough 2x4 left over, so I figured I might as well use it up. I want my back panel to be 1/2 inch thick, so I'm going to rip down individual 1/2 inch pieces here. Then I'm going to glue them up and clamp them to make one solid panel. While that panel's drying, I decided to move on and get my pieces sanded up. And here I'm just going to use some clamps to kind of batch it out one section at a time. It also helps keep the face of it nice and flush as you're sanding. Then I take a much deserved break until the panel's ready, and then I sand that down too. Now I'm ready to drill the holes for the dowel, and it's very important that each one of these holes stay perfectly aligned with the next. So I'm going to make a little jig here that I can clamp to my drill press and make sure everything is perfect. I do this by making a base that is roughly the same size as the plate on my drill press, and then I grab some scrap pieces of wood that are squared off, and using some wood glue and a couple dabs of CA just so I can get it to sit while the glue dries, I place them on the board. Once I get 2 pieces secured to the base, I'm going to use one of the actual pieces that we're going to drill out and put that in the center and make sure there's no wiggle room there at all before I put the 3rd piece on. This took less than 5 minutes to make, and it just really ensures that everything stays nice and accurate. I mean, you've got 11 pieces that you've got to drill identical, so this is the only way to go in my opinion. And even if you are off just the slightest, at least all of them are identically off and will still line up. Then I just repeat my holes with a Forstner bit that matches the size of my dowel. In my case it's 3/8 of an inch. Next I cut my dowel to match the length of my back piece. And to make sure that the coat hooks swing down nice and freely with not too much friction, I give it a quick sand. And to do this, since it's only a 3/8 dowel, I put it in my cordless drill and just run it while I run a piece of sandpaper up and down. I'm going to put everything together just to make sure everything lines up the way I expect it to. I find putting a little furniture paste on the dowel allows it to slide in a lot easier too. And here's why I should have used my stop block on my miter station when cutting these pieces. As you can see by looking down them, there's a little bit of variance between piece to piece, and I don't like that look. So I'm going to take it back over to the miter saw, set up a stop block for my smallest piece, and then match them all back up. And as you can see, that turned out much gooder. Now that I'm happy with the lines all the way around, I'm going to get set up to put my 45 angles on the bottom of the hook pieces. So I lay my pieces out in a pattern I liked that looked nothing like the first pattern I liked, and I mark alternating pieces. I set up another stop block for my 45 cuts so that all of them are identical, and I only need to cut the 5 pieces that I'm going to actually hang coats on because they just need a little extra clearance so that they don't bind up on the wall when they get popped out. Now I've got to take those same 5 pieces and drill out for the magnets. So I'm just going to measure down 2 inches and find center. I'll leave a link for these magnets in the description below. These are the 16mm options, or 5/8, and they're the perfect strength for this. I just set the depth on my drill press and I'm ready to drill them all out. And I'm going to stain everything before I get it all assembled just so I don't have to get all those hard to reach places, but first I'm going to hit it with a pre-stain just to allow this wood to soak up the stain even better. And while that's drying, I'm going to set everything up so I can mark out for the magnets on the back piece. To make sure these holes lined up, I got a little creative. These magnets came with small screws that actually fit right in the middle of them. So I put one through the middle and kind of used it like a little pointer so that when I pressed down on it, it would indent the spot on the backboard. That way I knew exactly where to drill. Yeah, I had one of those moments in the shop where I'm like, hey, I'm a pretty smart guy. But if you keep watching, you'll see that that's very short-lived. It was right about here where I decided I didn't really like the way the ends of this looked. And I didn't like how it was floating off the wall a bit and you could kind of see the back piece from the side. So I decided to head over to the table saw and make a couple of thicker end pieces. I made these pieces at 1.25 inches thick because that's the combined thickness of the back plate and the individual pieces. I'll add these to the ends of the coat rack and they'll hide that back piece and just clean up the overall look. And here's the part that stole my smart moment from earlier. You can see I taped off the spots where the secure pieces will stay. I don't like gluing up stain. I just find it's not as strong as bare wood. So here I tape them off to make sure they're not stained, but I realized that I stained the whole pieces that are going to glue to it, so it really didn't make a whole lot of sense. I haven't realized that yet here, but future me is going to be quite disappointed in present me, or past me, however you want to look at it. I'm not going to be happy. When that stain dries, I glue up the back piece, but at this point here, I'm just gluing the outside pieces I cut that were 1.25 inches to the edge of the back piece. That way I can make some minor adjustments if I need it with the movement on the front side of it. So I'll stain this while it's drying up as well, save a little time. Oh look, future me, realizing now that I completely stained the piece that I wanted to glue. So I'm going to sand these down. I don't have to be too particular with it, I just want enough surface that the glue will adhere to. I'm still not happy about this though. Now I'm ready to glue down the stationary pieces. And I'm going to glue all these pieces at once, and I'm going to use these little plastic shims that I've made to put them in where things might be feeling a little tight. That way when the glue's all set, everything should move nice and free. With the fitment adjusted, I just grab whatever's at arm's length and set it on top so the glue can cure overnight. The magnets are only going to be used to hold an empty coat hook closed, so I'm just going to use super glue to install the magnets. I'm just going to use simple screws to mount this to my wall. So I'm going to mark out, and then using a countersink bit, I'll pre-drill the holes. And I'll do it just deep enough that the head of the screw does not stick out and stop the hook from closing properly. I put one last coat of stain on it just to darken it up a bit. It's also a good opportunity to touch up any of the taped off spots I might have missed from the assembly. After a quick polish, it's ready to install and use. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like. Till next time.